Loading a DANA insulin pump. First, wash and dry hands and get everything required on a clean work surface. You need a reservoir, DANA key, insulin at room temperature, push rod, pump and infusion set. First of all, open insulin pump by removing cap. Open reservoir. Remove plastic cap off the back of the reservoir. We'll use this after. Taking push rod, firmly hold the barrel of the reservoir and click into place so the teeth line up firmly. Push barrel to the top of the reservoir just to make sure the lubricant and the pump is moving will move freely inside the pump. Remove needle cap, pierce top of insulin reservoir and push the insulin using the needle cap down into the reservoir. This reduces air bubbles in the insulin reservoir. You can pull it from just over halfway to get the last of the insulin out. At this point, replace the needle cap and swirl with a twisting motion to get any air to the top of the reservoir. Never flick. No flicking. Flicking creates micro air bubbles. Twist any air to the top and push out into the needle cap. Once again, twist and push any air out. From here, we read the amount of insulin that we have in the reservoir, and in this case I've got 260 units. So with 260 units in the reservoir, we now remove the needle cap, put the little white loading cap in place just to keep debris out. We need to rewind the push rod back up into the reservoir, and with 260 units we need to leave almost 1 centimetre between the blue base and the end of the cap exposed, which is about 4 to 6 threads of screw on the screw rod. Once we get to that point, we can now load this into the insulin pump. When slotting it in, just wait for it to line up and push it down. When it's all the way down and lined up, the little black line at the top of the reservoir needs to sit flush or lined up across the top of the pump. In this case, it's fallen in a little bit too far, so we remove it and just undo it by a quarter turn and push it back in again. And now you can see almost perfectly the little black line is just lined up at the top of the pump from the top of the reservoir. Take the reservoir cap and screw firmly down in place. The last turn of the reservoir cap pulls the insulin reservoir tight inside the pump. And when we remove the white cap, a small meniscus of insulin pushes out the top of the reservoir. We now advise the pump that we've loaded 260 units into it. Okay, and start the prime process. Using the key, firmly tighten the reservoir in place and attach the tubing. And you'll see the insulin now coming out the top almost immediately. We're only 1.2 units and we can screw the tubing in place. Note that by using this methodology, there's no loose reservoir in the insulin in the pump. The insulin reservoir is tight as soon as you screw the cap down, and insulin is flowing through the tubing immediately. So we're only 3.2 units and the insulin is filling the tubing already. So we'll now leave this running with the insulin pump sitting upright until the tubing is full.